Hello, welcome. This session is about secondary GT programming in Jeffco schools. I am Jennifer Webb, and I am a gifted and talented resource teacher in Jeffco. This is my third year in this position after 27 years teaching in the classroom, most of those years teaching AP and IB courses to gifted students. I also have my own gifted children who went through the Jeffco Gifted and Talented programs.
Hi there, I'm Shauna Abling, and I am also a gifted and talented resource teacher for Jeffco. I taught for 15 years in the classroom. I was a GT classroom specific teacher myself, and my son is currently starting this process as a gifted and talented student in Jeffco as well. Thanks for joining us today. Here's what we're going to be covering. We're going to be covering what GT programming at the middle school looks like, what it looks like at the high school, and then the many differentiated student center options as well for your GT student. So let's start with middle school. So here on our screen, what you're seeing are the middle schools that have a GT center model. So Creighton Middle School, Evergreen Middle School, Everett Middle School, King Carroll Middle School, North Arvada Middle School, and West Jeff Middle School all have a center program for GT students. If you are looking at enrolling in one of these schools or you have already enrolled, it might be worth contacting your GT resource teacher. You can do so by scanning this QR code, and it will take you to a list of teachers that serve a variety of schools, whether it is a center school or a neighborhood middle school. You can see which GT resource teacher, such as Jen and myself, serve, and you can contact that GTRT specifically. So I keep mentioning this word center. So what does center programming actually mean? Well, it means that your GT student is going to be taking a modified kind of cluster program. So the GT students will all be together when they take English language arts, social studies, and science. Those are all center-based classrooms that they take together. Math district-wide across Jeffco is ability-based. So students are placed in a mathematics class based on their mathematic ability. So it will not be GT center based. At the center school, they will have access to a social emotional learning specialist or counselor that is specific to GT. They have GT learning credentials. They are used to working with the GT population. And so your student will have access to that person, as well as GT licensed teachers or teachers who are working towards licensure as well. They will also have access to a GT resource teacher, such as Jen and myself again, and we help with serving the teachers, the school, the students, and we also help with working with parents. So we are housed at these center schools. At the center schools and our neighborhood schools, the middle school ALP life cycle, looks a little bit different, and I will cover that on the next slide as well. But regardless of whether attending a center school or a neighborhood school, a student will have an ALP questionnaire at the beginning of the year. They will be progress monitored throughout the year by either their homeroom teacher or a classroom teacher. And then they will have an ALP closeout at the end of the year. So in order to be part of a center program, a student needs to have an ALP or be working towards an ALP. ALP stands for Advanced Learning Plan, in which they have a strong body of evidence that supports that they should be on this academic learning plan. At the middle school, generally speaking, every school is different on how they serve their homeroom populations. Some of the middle schools will have a GT specific homeroom, but most of them are going to be fully integrated. At all schools, electives are fully integrated with the population of the school, and same for lunch. So what if your advanced learning plan student or your GT student is not going to be attending a center school? That's totally okay. 80% of our GT students are served at their neighborhood school. And all schools, regardless of being a center or not, are served by a GT resource teacher, such as Jen or myself as well. So we will still support that school. We just might not necessarily be housed at that school. Regardless if your student is at a center school or not, they will have access to mental health providers. Neighborhood schools also might differentiate in that they might advertise STEM or STEAM or advanced honors coursework. It just depends, again, on the school. Regardless of what school you attend, teachers are trained to differentiate in their classrooms and are strength-based learners. So they will work with a student's strengths, with their gifts or their talents, regardless if you're at a center school or a neighborhood school. And then also, regardless if you're at a center school or a neighborhood school, again, the ALP life cycle is the same. They still will have that initial questionnaire at the beginning of the year. Teachers are progress monitoring throughout the school year, and then they will have a closeout at the end of the year. What's different is our gradual release model. So at the middle school, it's going to look a lot different than it did at the elementary school. When your student was first put on their advanced learning plan at the elementary school, you and the teacher worked as a partnership to come up with strengths for academics and effective learning for your child. And at the middle school level and at the high school level, we look at a gradual release model where the student takes ownership of that plan. So the student will actually fill out what they would like to work on, what they would like to work towards. Now, of course, that's in guidance with a teacher that's telling them, hey, let's look at your strengths, let's look at your gifts, let's look at your talents, and let's work towards building something that you love, you're passionate about, that you're excited about. So it's not more work. It's just deeper work that they are working towards. And it's something that gets them excited to be looking at beyond just the scope and sequence of the classroom. So this is just an example of what a student would be filling out at the beginning of the year.
All right, let's move on to high school programs. You'll notice that our high school GT centers shrink to two schools. Those are Arvada High School and Wheat Ridge High School. If you have specific questions about those schools and what they have to offer, I have included the GT resource teachers' contact information for you on this slide. The center programming looks considerably different at high school than it does at middle school. Just like any of your neighborhood schools, students, even in a center program, will register for their selected courses based on their strengths, their talents, their passions, their interests. Then students at a GT center will have a GT Center elective course added to their schedule as part of their enrollment. This class is an elective. It is taught by a teacher who is trained to work with gifted students and by a social emotional learning counselor, also trained to work with gifted students. This class serves as a home base for these GT students where they will complete their ALPs, work on their ALP goals, work on passion projects, practice presentation skills, and just a variety of other things that are designed very specifically for GT students who thrive in that type of an environment. The AP life cycle, as Shauna already talked about with middle school, is again student driven, and students at this level will choose their own goals. So just like the middle school students, high school students at all high schools, whether center or non-center, will complete an initial questionnaire where they set their goals, progress monitoring in January or February, and then an ALP closeout in the spring. And I will show you what that looks like in just a second. In addition to these two center options and the ALP that students will be working on, high schools offer so many other elective opportunities and options for these students and other center student options, which we will also continue to talk about after we look at this ALP questionnaire. So if you spent much time looking at the middle school one, you will notice that this is not that much different. There are a few changes based on opportunities students have at high school that they don't have at middle school, but otherwise they are quite similar in terms of both academic and affective goals. So just like at every other level, students will choose an academic goal and affective goal as required by the state of Colorado for all students in the state who are designated gifted and talented, you will notice that the goals are rather general. At both middle school and high school, we encourage students to generate much more specific goals than that, and then select the general goal that most closely matches it. It's just impossible to put every single thing a kid could think of on this survey without it being pages and pages long and taking weeks to read. So we can help students, or teachers can help students choose which one of those goals is sort of the header for what they actually want to do as they move forward in high school. And just like Shauna said when she was talking about ALP goals for middle school, this is not designed to be extra work for any kids. It is designed to help them focus their work so they are truly working on their passions and their needs are getting met. One way to make sure students' needs are getting met are to take a look at the variety of student center options at the high schools and pick and choose based on your student's strengths. So, for example, if your student thrives on academic rigor, they may want to look at IB or AP programs. International Baccalaureate program is a little bit different in that it is, in most cases, a comprehensive program. It is an international program as indicated by the title and is actually run out of Cardiff, England. In Jefferson County, we have IB at 4 different schools: Alameda High School, Dakota Ridge High School, Lakewood High School, and Stanley Lake High School. This program provides high school students access to college level studies across the board and in all subject areas. Most of our IB programs in Jefferson County are what are called diploma programs. So students who are juniors and seniors in high school will take IB coursework in all core subjects and world language and an elective. So it is very comprehensive in that particular case. Alameda also does offer certificate programs where students can pick just the courses they want for their certificates. Other schools I know are looking into that. And Alameda also offers a career program, which is very different from the other two. In IB, students are assessed with a body of evidence that is both written work and tests and exams that they sit for. Those are then scored by teachers who are trained internationally to score these. Those marks can lead to college credit at multiple universities and most universities, or to the elimination of prerequisite courses. So this is one way your student can get a year or so of college taken care of before they even attend university. Advanced placement courses are similar in that they also allow opportunities for high school students to take college level courses. You will note that every single high school in Jefferson County offers some form of advanced placement courses somewhere along the way. And these courses, once again, can lead to college credit or can lead to a different placement. So a level 2 course instead of a level 1 course at college. You may take advanced placement courses in almost every single subject area, including some of the electives such as art and computer science. Each high school does offer different advanced placement courses depending on student interest, trained teachers, student population, and how many courses they are able to staff for. So you will want to look at course guidebooks for whatever schools you are looking at or your student is currently attending, or have your student talk to their counselor about what advanced placement courses are offered at that high school. Students in advanced placement will sit for an exam, and a score of a 3, 4, or 5 generally leads to credit. In the state of Colorado, there is a list of courses that the schools are required to give credit for at the university level, depending on the scores. So if you go to the CDE website, there is a chart that shows every college and university in the state of Colorado, which AP courses the state requires those colleges give credit for, and what credit students are given for a score of a 3, a score of a 4, or the highest score of a 5. So again, this is a great opportunity for students to walk into college with some of that beginning coursework already taken. Another option in Jeffco is Career and Technical Education, or CTE, and we have some different options of where students can take those classes. One such example is Warren Tech, which has grown considerably in the 20 years that I've been here. They now have 3 campuses and over 30 programs for juniors and seniors. These need to be juniors and seniors in good academic standing, as well as with good attendance, because it can be highly competitive to get into some of these programs. These programs include programs in business and marketing, criminal justice, fire science, health science, hospitality, several STEM programs, which include cybersecurity, coding, and game development. So it is absolutely worth looking into the Warren Tech campuses to see if they have something to offer your child. In addition to that, there are also CTE classes within the individual schools. And again, those can be business based, computer based, graphic design courses, robotics courses, a variety of courses, and every school has different options. So you again will need to check with those schools. Some schools in their CTE classes even partner with Red Rocks Community College, allowing another opportunity for students to get both high school credit and college credit for those courses. You might also see concurrent enrollment as an option in many of these high schools. This is when students enroll in a college level course that is taught on the high school campus by a qualified teacher. And what qualified means is that teacher has a master's degree in that subject area, and that teacher's syllabus has been approved by the college awarding credit for the course, which typically for Jefferson County tends to be CU Succeeds, although there are also some concurrent enrollment courses with the local community colleges as well. For example, my children, when they were in high school, took concurrent enrollment chemistry, and they were able to get both the high school credit and then for a very small fee compared to college courses, we were able to pay for those credits at the university level. And then they did transfer to both of their colleges since they both remained in state. So there are some options there that you will want to look into. Another option is dual enrollment. This one is not as popular or as common because this is when the student goes to the university, and through an agreement with Jefferson County, the student is also awarded high school credit for that university's course. So it's run a little bit different than concurrent enrollment because it is not at the high school, and it does require students to pay tuition as well. Finally, if you have a student who is gifted in creativity or in visual or performing arts or music or dance, most of our high schools have programs of some sort that will benefit your student. So every high school has a music program that is either band and orchestra and or choir. They all have some sort of theater arts programming and some sort of visual programming as well. So there are lots of opportunities for your students to move beyond just general classroom activities once they get to high school, regardless of whether or not they attend a center program or your neighborhood school. All right, thank you for joining us for this presentation today. If you have further questions or would like additional information, you are welcome to attend the Family Learning Night on January 24th, 2024 from 6 to 7 p.m. More information about that is available on the Jeffco Public Schools GT Family Resource webpage. We have included the text for the link on this slide, as well as a QR code. Thank you.
Thank you so much.